Hello, and welcome once again to Warp Night Wednesday, brought to you by Extra Secret Gaming. I am Dan from the internet. She is...
I'm Tristan from the comic shop.
Oh, yeah, from Warp 9. She's going to help me out today from back by popular demand. I did have people asking about you. Not going to lie. Yeah, people were like, Tristan ever going to be back on there again? I was like, I don't know. So I guess I'm not enough, so I got to bring the female talent again. So anyway, if you're, I think a lot of people are still filing in, but if you haven't joined us before, basically what we do here is we just kind of recap the stuff that we want to talk about as far as cool stuff that came into the shop this week. It's not really a whole lot of Q&A stuff. It's just me kind of rattling off some stuff. You get our opinions, you take them for what they are, and do whatever you want with them. Buy the books, don't buy the books, it's all good. But before we kick that off, if you look to my left, basically, which would be your right in your screen at home, don't point down there. What are you doing? Yeah, over there, like right in that area. There's a new little graphic down there. What's that graphic doing there? Oh, well, it says 2017 winner. Winner of what? Well, it's the Channel 4 Vote for the Best. Well, what's that mean? Well, what does that mean? That means when you're the best comic shop in Metro Detroit, you got a plaque.
Yay!
You take a picture of yourself hard styling with another employee because Trey doesn't want to be in the picture because he's mysterious. So anyway, that's our plaque. We won best comic shop in Detroit for Vote for the Best, voted on by you, the fans at home. I don't even care if we only got like 10 votes and nobody else got any. We're still number one. You can't take this away from us. Not at all. And she's dolphining over here. That's how cool it is.
It's a round
Just dolphining like a motherfucker. Oh, it's a round of applause. I get it. I'm with you. A round of applause. So anyway, Trey doesn't show up in regular film. No, he doesn't. He really, really doesn't. He's so metal that the film would burst into flames. So yeah. So thank you for that. I'll be putting that graphic up until I'm not allowed to put it up anymore when they make the 2018 winner, which will still be us. But first things first. As far as like merchandise goes, we got these little guys in. These little pocket pop things. So we've had these in before. They're little blind bag guys made by Funko. Before they were just little figures. But then they figured out, why not make them into keychains?
Woo!
So now they're keychains. So we have the Batman Animated Series ones, and then we have some Marvel ones. Why do I have open ones? Is because Trey cannot seem to not open these. So whenever we get new ones, I just throw two at him to make sure he opens them so he stops opening like 50 million of them. So it's me appeasing the boss. So yeah, we got those. They're $4.99 a piece. Little blind bag guys. They're really cool though. I like them. What do you think?
They are super cute.
Cool? Yeah,
I think the Doctor Strange cloak is really. It's like surrounds his head and it's hilarious. I love it.
Well, that's why they like the traditional cloak.
Yeah.
Plus, he's throwing up gang signs. See, he's always throwing up gang signs. Man, Doctor Strange. He's Crips and Bloods. See that? Blue and red. Look at that. Look at that. Other things we got this week, one of the big things we got this week, and I do mean by big as in size, also price, and also awesomeness, is the Frank Cho Wonder Woman statue. This guy stands right around like 11 inches tall, very heavy, but for $150 you are not going to find a better statue on the market from DC Direct. Like we said, taken from Frank Cho's artwork. What are you doing? Hold that thing out there. Nobody wants to see you.
I wanted to show that I approved.
So it's in the same vein. I think I didn't have a chance to talk about like the Killing Joke statue, but there was a Killing Joke statue done by Brian Boland, which is also very good. Yeah, it's that one there. And then also that Superman statue that's going to be coming that's based on the artwork of Neil Adams, also very good. This is one of the best statues that we've had in the building for sure since the Captain Marvel Sideshow statue. I got one. Trey got one. Mr. Mike Mack in the chat, he got one. Yeah, I'm telling you, everybody's getting one. You should get yours, too. We've got a few left. Otherwise, Trey's got them at Cincinnati Comic-Con. I should probably plug that, too. Trey's going to be at Cincinnati Comic-Con. We got a booth down there. He'll be there all weekend selling you stuff that you probably really, really, really need and you can't live without. Tell your friends. Cincinnati. We coming to your city. So, anyway. Statue, $150. Well worth it. They got to continue that line. All the cool kids are buying them. Yes, they are. Let's do the dolls.
Dolls?
Yeah.
I love these things.
So we got these in from Hasbro the other day. So we do carry some dolls from time to time. We don't carry a lot. Typically we do like the Barbies, but those ones we couldn't really pass up. There's the Forces of Destiny Star Wars from Hasbro, Princess Leia, and then Rey doll. The cool thing is they both come with droids too. You get BB-8 or you get R2-D2. I mean, come on, man. So these are great for if you have like a little girl in your life, or if you have a little boy in your life who, you know, enjoys playing with solid female heroes. these are your things.
Woo!
They're
Good
great
for them.
little figures, I'm telling you. And yeah, don't ever hate on somebody who want to play with dolls, man. Let them play whatever they want. Plus, it's Star Wars.
Seriously.
Come on, man. The women are like the baddest things in the galaxy. So yeah, those will run you a little bit more money, obviously, with us, because the Hasbro stuff runs more money with us because they make us pay a hell of a lot more money. What's the price tag on the bottom of those? $28.99 plus tax. So yeah, great little gift, something to think about for Christmas, especially if you're trying to get daughter, niece, nephew, son, whatever. If you're trying to get them into Star Wars and they don't like action figures, this is a cool little opportunity because everybody should be into Star Wars. If you're not into Star Wars, what's going on?
Or you can just buy them for me.
Or you can buy them from Tristan. She'll be here tomorrow from 11 to 7. Keeping with the Star Wars theme, we got a couple of new SH Figuarts. Obviously, SH Figuarts, I've widely said that they're like my favorite figures that we get here. We got the new, let's start with this one.
Okay.
We got the new Captain Phasma. Very similar to the older Captain Phasma, except she's going to have her fighting spear, which if you've been reading the Phasma novel, like some people, this guy, the spear is kind of a big deal. The only real change, the paint job's a little shinier, which is nice, and also there's a gun attached to like her leg, which is very cool, as far as that goes. I'm really holding out hope that this next movie is really going to show her off as the badass that she is, because in her in the comic book that just started, which is very, very good, and also in the novel that she's in, she is a badass, man. Like she can wreck shop. So I'm hoping we get to see that in the next movie. Not really at the expense of any characters I like. Maybe if she just knocks around some Ewoks or something, or some of whatever those things are, those Pogs. Or whatever, the space penguins. You know what I'm talking about.
They're so cute.
The space penguins. Yeah, they're like our generation's Ewoks or something. Well, your generation's Ewoks. I'm old. I walk with a cane. Really old.
At this point, it's not even my generation anymore.
So, this is the Last Jedi Stormtrooper that also came out. People are going to be like, but Dan, they've already come out with Stormtrooper. What's the difference with this one? The cool thing about this one is you can change its little shoulder things to change up like who he is as far as like in the ranks. So if you take like a lot of pictures of your figures, this is a great one. So instead of having to buy like 3 different stormtroopers, you can just use the one because he's got multiple different things. Really fun one. So if you haven't bought a stormtrooper yet, this is your stormtrooper. You want to go with this guy because you can even remove the thing and just make him a normal stormtrooper. It's really, really, really cool. And like we said, we love these. So we got these from our import guy, and he was like, well, we'll tell you what, I'll give you one each separate, or you can tell the people if they buy them as a bundle where they stay together forever, then they get that guy. What is that? It's BB Hate. No, that's not his real name.
BB9E.
BB9E. He is the BB Hate. He is the one that is the evil BB of the BBs. So he rolls around, gatting fools and whatever else they do in the First Order, doing First Order stuff, yelling at people, telling them they're not doing things the right way. So he's going to have a role in the next movie. I'm just going to call him BB Hate because that just makes sense. Why wouldn't you?
I feel like he wouldn't yell at things. He would beep at things.
Beeping, yelling. Hey,
beep, beep,
we all
beep,
raise our
beep,
voices.
Beep, beep, beep.
Like I'm about to right now.
You love
so yeah, if you buy both of these together, you get that for free. Dude, you're not going to find that anywhere else on the internet. The internet's stupid. Come buy them from us. Just kidding. I love the internet. I just don't like Amazon.
We're on
internet
the internet
stuff.
Immediately now, so.
We're on the internet now?
Yeah.
Whoa!
The internet people are gonna come and
gonna have to do this by yourself. I'm back. Transformer. So we only got one new Transformer in this week. We thought we were getting 2, but unfortunately they repacked us because Hasbro are a bunch of biznatches. If you don't know what that is, look it up on the Urban Dictionary. Decepticon Octone. Not Octung. Octone. So, cool thing about this, it's carrying on the Titans Return stuff, which is great. So, you have like a little headmaster. Then you flip him around, and he turns into 2 different things. So, this one turns into a space shuttle, or he turns into a semi-truck that pulls the space shuttle. So, it's like he just pulls himself around, whatever. Or he can blast off into space and do some cool space shit. Whatever you got to do. But he's one of the purple bots. He is a Decepticon. His name is Octone. Not Octung. Octone. You gotta say the whole thing, just like that. So, cool little purchase. These guys will set you back right around $30, but they do a really nice job with these figures. I'm starting to get into more Transformer stuff now.
If you don't say it correctly, we won't sell it to you.
Octone!
Octone!
Exactly. There you go. Last but not least, we got another Diamond, I guess they're calling them Diamond Select Gallery figures. It's the PVC line of figures. Really affordable, $45. From the new Batman Adventures, I give you Batgirl. The coolest thing about this Batgirl is she's kicking my favorite version of Clayface, right in his neck. So it's got the animated version of Clayface, so technically you're getting two figures, actually a figure and an eighth. Whatever. But it's one of my favorite ones that they've ever done because I love that version of Batgirl for one, and then I love that version of Clayface. It's one of my favorite animated things of all time. Really, really great stuff. So if you're digging that, $45 to set you back, but it is PVC, so it's not really resin or anything. So it's a good little purchase, man. These things are nice. I like them.
I think it's gorgeous. Like,
there you go.
It's so pretty.
Tristan approved. We can all go home. We're all done. Let's go.
Okay.
So moving on to comics. Lots and lots and lots of stuff happened in comics this week. Where would you like to begin?
I don't know.
This will be the last time she is on this show.
No, it won't.
We're going to start with DC. Why? Because DC has been a wrecking shop. So let's start with some DC. We got this week Nightwing number 29. Nightwing number 29. That's a metal tie-in. It is the numero dos of the Gotham Resistance storyline. What is the Gotham Resistance storyline? Well, when Challenger's Mountain appeared in Gotham City, the Joker who laughs, which is essentially one of the, or it's the Batman who laughs, right? I think that's his name.
Batman who laughs.
He's one of the evil multiverse Batmen, has come onto the scene, and he gave all these magical cards, I know it sounds a little goofy, to a bunch of the Arkham inmates, and they've remade Gotham into like their image, so they each have a certain section of Gotham that they've taken over. And our heroes, namely, starts off with Damian and some of the Teen Titans. They meet up with some of the Suicide Squad, the Teen Titans book. In part 2, they meet up with Nightwing. Nightwing immediately takes charge because he is like Batman Jr. He's got that leadership quality.
And I love him.
And the women love him. The women love him. So great little interaction between him and Damian, and that kind of family dynamic that they have, where Dick is very much the big brother. I mean, come on now. Damian hates being told what to do, but he still listens to Dick, because who doesn't listen to Dick?
Seriously.
Right? That's what I'm talking about. Double entendres. So, yeah. If you haven't been reading the tie-in stuff for Metal, typically I'm like, tie-in stuff, who needs it? Bah. I even sell books, and I'm like, who needs it? In this case, I say you need it, because it's a completely another storyline. You can literally read this without reading Metal and still have fun. So I suggest a book.
I mean, I'm loving this tie-in because I like how it's literally not just like, oh, they mention the event in like a single panel.
This guy was in the background and he did this thing and he was buying a taco. So anyway, give us your money.
It's like a full arcing story, and it's I think it's great.
Yeah, it's gonna be simple. Just gonna go straight through. None of the BS. None of the grizzle and the fat. It's just the meat. Just the meat from Dick. So anyway, Batman the Red Death. This is the first in our backstories, our origin stories, if you will, of the evil Batman. This one, in this case, takes you into the dark multiverse where these Earths are not supposed to exist. Batman has kind of gone over the edge, and he decides he needs a Speed Force, and it goes from there. So I'm not going to tell you any more than that, other than the fact that something does happen. He becomes a Batman with the Speed Force. You want to show it to them? You've already seen this book.
It's shiny.
The book will run you back $2.99, which is a great value for an awesome book like this. Very cool as far as a look into the origin of one of the evil Batmen, and I dig it. I really, really dig it. Next week we're getting the Murder Machine, which I have no idea what that's about, but that's going to be interesting.
That's going to be fun.
Also this week, we got ourselves a little bit of a DC crossover with our friends at Dark Horse. We got Wonder Woman and Conan with a great cover by Derek Robertson. The great thing about this book is you can just jump right into it. It really feels a little more like a Conan book than it does a Wonder Woman book. But I really dug it. Essentially, in this universe, Conan and Wonder Woman met as children, and they meet up later in life due to a series of unfortunate events. Did I violate a patent on Lemony Snicket? I don't know. But he doesn't know that. Fuck him. So they meet up, and Conan doing his typical Conan stuff. He has very few words for people, and he chops off heads and whatnot. And we're getting very much battle-hardened Diana, and they're going from there. This is just the first issue, so we're going to see where it goes. If there is a budding romance there between our hulking guy and our wonderful princess, or vice versa, hulking princess, wonderful guy.
I'm good with that one.
I thought it was fun for a first issue, though. It wasn't. I'm not the biggest Conan fan, but I'm all for a guy hacking up people's heads who deserve it. So. In real life and fiction. So check that one out if you haven't. We still got some copies left here. I dug it. For you folks who have not jumped on the Superman bandwagon, Superman's been a great book so far. And this is a great chance for you to jump on, especially because it's got Superman and Deathstroke. We got Superman, what is it, number 31. It is part 1 in the Breaking Point storyline. Thank you. So essentially Superman, Deathstroke end up meeting up. Mainly because Lois Lane decides that she is going to write a story about Deathstroke. Some other problems ensue, and I don't want to spoil the ending because it's really freaking cool. But a great little jumping on point for people who've been looking to jump on Superman while you're still doing like the backlog thing. You don't really need to know pretty much anything else that's happened in the other Superman storyline. It's very much just jump on and go. But it's got one of my favorite characters in Deathstroke in it, so definitely check that out this week too for sure. Continuing on with the Jumping On series, we've got Batwoman number 7. This is the start of the Fear and Loathing story arc. Now, first off, it's got a great cover, super creepy. Who's on the cover? That is Dr. Jonathan Crane. You may know him as the Scarecrow. This essentially is, you're starting off in this weird kind of thing where it's like, is it a dream sequence? Is it a flashback sequence? You're kind of unsure, but of course with anything that has the Scarecrow in it, you're kind of unsure about what reality is and what's going on, because have they been fear toxins? Have they been dosed? They've covered that quite a bit in a lot of the Batman stuff, but it's kind of cool to see Batwoman dealing with some of the traditional Bat family rogues. I'm hoping they do more of that. I've been loving the Batwoman book, and I really feel like people should be picking it up. Not a ton of people are reading it, but hopefully that'll change. Because Kate Kane is one of the most badass females in all of the DCU, and I would really like her to get a movie. You listen to me?
Really cool.
You listening, DC? I know you guys watch this show. Jeff Johns, call me, baby. Get this thing going. Okay, we're going to jump over to Marvel real quick. So, with Marvel, we had another Generations book. And with Generations Miss Marvel, I am going to let Tristan take the wheel.
Well, with the Generation books, it's been really interesting from the start. It's one of those things where, like, you just get thrown in a situation. They literally don't explain what's going on. Stop staring at me. Oh. This one I really liked because the kind of interaction between the two, Kamala Khan gets...
Hold the book up.
You hold the book up. Kamala Khan kind of gets thrown back in time, and becomes an intern at the women's magazine?
So mainly because of like the history of Miss Marvel, when she was the editor-in-chief at a magazine that was partially owned by J. Jonah Jameson, and it goes from there. So it's kind of a cool little throwback and a callback to the old stuff. It's
really fun watching Kamala kind of like see Miss Marvel in her like beginning, and I don't want to say prime because I mean she's Captain Marvel now, and that's just really freaking cool.
Someone just called you Captain Marvel. Got the hair for it.
Thank you. I do, don't I?
Got the hair for it, for sure.
But, like, I thought it was really interesting, and kind of, they throw a little bit in the end of, like, how life should be lived. I know. Just how life should be lived from, like, a certain point of view. And I thought it was really interesting. So it's definitely one of those things that if you want to read it, I would definitely suggest reading it and just kind of taking that in and thinking about the kind of what she says about living your life.
I think it's a very good single standoff issue, especially for female readers who are apprehensive about comics.
It's really good.
To me, I read it, I was like, really cool. It's a well put together issue, but I came away with it where I was like, okay, that book wasn't for me. You know what I mean? I felt like it was very much targeted for more female readers, which is great. That's a good thing.
I agree.
So if you've ever had, either, daughter, aunt, whatever. You know, anybody who's been apprehensive about comics is a great one because it's a one-off shot. They can read it. They can see a little bit of the history of comics while also seeing one of the more future characters of comics and how they interact. And you get that love there, you know, because there's always been that respect. Kamala loves Captain Marvel.
Kamala is a huge fangirl.
Yeah, big time. And she makes no bones about it. But Kamala, I'm a huge fangirl of Kamala. She's amazing. Typically, I don't do this. Typically, I don't talk about annuals because they're just usually single standoff stories that just they don't really grab you. This one's pretty cool, though, mainly because it's a quick little Han and Leia story. Han and Leia are being tracked by some bounty hunters because, once again, you know, people are trying to kill Han because that's pretty much just what he does. One of the reasons I read it, Jason Latour wrote it, and I'm a big fan of Jason Latour. He's been doing a lot of stuff with like Spider-Gwen and also you know, drawing Southern Bastards. A few more of his own creator stuff that unfortunately is escaping me right now after a, you know, almost 12-hour workday. But fun little Star Wars story, especially if you are a fan of Han Solo and you're a fan of Princess Leia and how they interact with each other. This one's perfect for you. It's a wonderful little just single standoff. You don't need to know anything other than that. You know, these two get on each other's nerves so badly, and also because, you know, they're deeply in love with each other. So, and I'm pretty sure this takes place before they've gotten together. But there's some bounty hunters, there's some action sequences, you know, they gotta do some thinking on their feet, and obviously Leia comes out as as one of the bigger heroes of it because Han's also injured, so it goes from there. Great art, great writing, single standalone takeaway story, fun stuff. Read it if you got some time. I like it. So we've already talked about this book a little bit. Well, actually, let's stick with the Star Wars theme. Star Wars Adventures number 2. This was the second part in the story. Star Wars Adventures number 1 sold out here. It's been pretty well received. It's definitely an all-ages Star Wars book, which, more of that, please. Love all-ages Star Wars books. They're not single standalone, though, which has me a little concerned. This was a 2-part story for 1 and 2. I'm hoping that the single standalone stories will come with issue number 3, but we'll see. I mean, 2 issues is fine. I just hope they don't get into, like, 5-issue story arcs because I love having a kid's book that I can just hand over to any parent anywhere and be like, Star Wars, boom, do it, you know? And it's really easy. I just dropped the comic. But anyway, what? I dropped the comic.
That's horrible.
So I dropped the comic?
Yes.
It happens, man. It's gravity, dude. You should know that more than anybody. You're short. Just saying. But anyway.
I'm not sure.
So the interesting thing about this story, and one of the reasons I'm bringing it up, is because of the interaction between Rey and you know, the junk lord guy. I always forget his name. But he's been kidnapped, and then Rey has to go off and try to you know, help him and stuff, and it goes from there, showing how great of a heart that Rey is, but also showing I think it's Unkar, something like that.
I think so.
Showing how he has a little bit of a soft spot when it comes to Rey, which is showing us a little bit more of her backstory, which I know we're going to get more of that in The Last Jedi. So kind of a fun little thing, but man, I love this book just because you don't need to know anything else. You don't have to take it too seriously. It's just, boom, fun. And it's drawn in like the animated style classics of you know, just any of your traditional Disney show kind of things. So really, really fun one. If you're just looking for something simple, especially for the all-ages crowd, definitely go for it. But I got to grab this thing that Gravity grabbed. See me spitting mad fire there, Gravity grabbed?
Yeah.
Gravity grabbed.
You're the next Eminem, obviously.
Yeah, I'm the first Dan. That's what I am. So, Spider-Man number 2. Spider-Man Dos. This is number 3. So why am I talking about this? Mainly because I've actually really been enjoying this storyline so far. I enjoyed the first one, but this is Brian Bendis at his best. He's very much he's got this story in his head, and it couldn't be more clear. He's trying to tell you the story of the other Miles Morales and who he is and what happened to him. Because obviously this Miles came from a different universe. So what was up with our Miles? You know, whatever happened to him? Well, it turns out him and the Kingpin were homies. And he's a straight gangster. He's got scars on his face and stuff. But he's kind of a reluctant gangster in a way. So this is more of the story about how him and the Kingpin met, and it goes from there. This storyline's been great so far. We still have 1s and 2s here. So if you haven't started it up and you're looking for a Spider-Man storyline that doesn't have like Peter Parker being you know, the head of his own company and all this other stuff. If you've really been turned off by that stuff, this is a great little story. Plus, it's got Miles, and I love the Miles stuff. And Brian Bendis is at his best when he's writing the Miles stuff because he loves that character so much. You can see it. You know, have you been reading this?
I read the first one. I have the second one sitting on my nightstand. I still have to read it.
So that'd be no.
No. You
read the first one.
I read the first one.
What did you think of the first one?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really interesting.
Okay.
It's definitely one that's like on the top of my stack of comics to read because I'm
just
really
hearing excuses. So you read the first one, you liked it, you plan on continuing it, so you would suggest it.
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Very much so.
She's gonna murder me one day. You guys just watch it. It'd be on stream too. It'd just be like, "Hey, welcome to work." And it'd be like a pen sticking out of my neck, and she's just like covered in blood, just smiling away, thinking it was like the best day. Oh man. Anywho. What do you want to do next? You didn't read that, right?
I didn't read that.
I forgot to tell you to read that.
Okay.
Want to do Angelic?
Sure.
Okay.
Flying monkeys.
From our friends at Image Comics. This is one from Cy Spurrier called Angelic. Basically, the way that they kind of describe it is that this is centuries after humanity has disappeared. The Earth belongs to our leftovers. Essentially, genetically modified animals that were used in war. But now these animals are starting to become a little more sentient and starting to become, develop faith and religion and all these other things. If you read, what was it? I think it was We 3, Grant Morrison's thing a long time ago, the one that made everybody cry because it was so sad. It's not like that, but it's similar as far as, like, these animals have, tech built into them and stuff, and they're making their own religions. The monkeys got wings, all sorts of crazy stuff. At first, I was like, this is too out there for me. But when I got towards the end, I was like, man, this is sweet. Cyborg monkeys, my greatest fear. Cyborg monkeys is everybody's greatest fear. Wait until you see the freaking dolphins flying around. Yeah, I said it. Dolphins with freaking jetpacks that are, like, all about the murder. So, and it goes from there, and they talk about other animals, and it's a lot about faith and women in these arranged marriages, and it really gets kind of deep for something that's just basically a flying monkey.
Yeah.
You know, the artwork's really fun. The colors are absolutely fantastic.
Gorgeous.
But it really kind of delves into this whole, like, the start of society through a flying monkey's point of view. And how they don't want to be tied down, and they don't want to get married, and they don't want to have babies. It's a female monkey. Sorry, I probably should have mentioned that. And that's supposed to be her, like, what they're planning for her. She's supposed to get married, supposed to have kids for the, to continue their race and all that. And there's all these other things. So it looks like it's going to be a big, expansive universe. But so far, kind of worth checking out if you're looking for something different as far as the flying monkey genre. That is number one. Yes, very good.
They have hermit crabs and skulls.
Oh, yeah, the hermit crabs and the human skulls.
I think that's so great.
Yeah, that's pretty great. One that, what'd you think? You read it.
I liked it a lot. It takes a minute to kind of get used to the writing because it's written because they're monkeys still learning how to, like,
Still learning language, yeah.
So it's a little hard to understand at first, but once you kind of get the hang of it,
you start getting the speech pacing and stuff. Yeah,
it's really good. I love the main character. She's adorable. I like kind of the terms they use. The art makes it seem like it's gonna be just like this goofy, cutesy story, but it like you said, it gets really deep.
Gives you a little curveball because of the language barrier too. It's got a kind of curveball at the end where you're like, oh, that's what they were talking about. So we don't want to say it, but it was kind of funny. She was reading it here and she was like, oh, that's what they. Oh, I was like, I know, right? It's kind of cool.
It's like
so fun little curveball, something different. I would definitely check it out if you're looking for something different. Because obviously, as you know, here we cover the big three or the big two, and then we go into some indie stuff. So. Best comic book shop by far. Hey, thanks, man.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Yeah, see that? See that? We got a plaque that says so. Yeah, I'm going to put it on one of those rope chains. That's going to be me, just hanging around the shop like this. It's going to be great. I mean, you guys already saw our hardstyle picture on the internet. If you haven't seen the hardstyle picture, you got to see it. It's on our Instagram or Facebook. So, this book by Cullen Bunn and Wando. I love that name, Wando. This is great. Wando, like John Doe, get it? Yeah, right? I know. Anyway, from Aftershock Comics, this this book asks the question about, okay, you know the story of Noah, and he's got his ark, and he's got his people, and then he's got, you know, the animals that came 2 by 2 so that they could go, and once the flood goes away, they can get to humping, and then we get our animals back. Cliff notes, but you know what I'm saying. Basically it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Noah tries to, like, cave in his kid's daughter-in-law's head or whatever, according to the movie with Russell Crowe. But I'm paraphrasing. This asks the question of, okay, God told Noah to get all the animals and all of his people onto this boat so they could ride around and then eventually get off and start the humping. What if the devil decided to tell his people, hey, I want you to gather up all the vampires, goblins, dragons, you know, all of my folk and put them on your own ark, so that way, you know, when the thing, you know, recedes and everything, we still have evil. And that's where this comes in. It's called Dark Ark. So essentially, I just kind of explained it to you. 2 different arcs. We are seeing from the first point of view of the Dark Ark, to where they have been keeping tabs on Noah's Ark, because Noah's Ark they see as kind of food, but they don't want to attack because they don't want to go against their Dark Lord's wishes. Well, the problem with having a big boat full of a bunch of evil stuff, they want to do evil stuff. Now, they have humans to feed to the darkness people, like vampires and whatnot. And it's kind of interesting so far. I'm very much just going to gloss over it because that's all there really is a big gloss over. So if you're looking for something a little different in like the religious kind of aspect, but also fantasy way, it's very interesting. The art is a little bit more on the dirty side, but I think it's because it fits this book very, very well. You know, if you're not a fan of like very kind of dirty, sketchy stuff and a little anime-ish with the way it's colored, you may not like this book. But I think the art fits perfect for what it is. You want to flip it open real quick just so they can get a general idea. The cover doesn't really do it. That's a good one. Yeah. So you can see it's a little more anime-ish with the coloring and some of like the soft focus stuff. It's definitely digitally done. But yes, it is the perfect gift for Easter, according to Mike Mack. So that's fun. Easter's a ways away, so yeah, you got plenty of time to stock up. Last but not least, this is a book that Image has been really pushing. Gasolina. Takes place in Veracruz, Mexico. Starts off as if it's supposed to be kind of a traditional, you know, people fleeing the cartels. There's some crime stuff going on, and you know, we're badasses. They might be badasses, you know, stuff like that. But then it takes on a kind of a horror twist in a way. And you start figuring out there's these other things that are alive in this part of Mexico, and I'm guessing in the whole world, and it goes from there. We don't get the backstory of the main protagonist just yet, nor do we get like the entire backstory of exactly what's going on. It's a bit confusing, but we sold out really fast this morning. But then I forgot that we still had like 5 more copies in the in the bins that we have there, so I do have more. If you missed it the first time, that was an accident. So we're open tomorrow, 11 to 7. Tristan will be here. So yeah, check it out. It's definitely something different. It is an Image #1, so it's got that indie vibe to it. I don't know if it's gonna have too much legs, but once again, it's a very broad first issue. So we're going to have to see. Done by Sean Makowitz, Nico Walter, and Matt Lopez. Sorry I didn't get to all the people that were on all the other books for like Image and DC and stuff, but it would make this thing exceptionally long. But I got to do it in the future because I know people deserve credit for their work. So I apologize for that. Other than that, though, final thoughts, Lil T?
On specifically? Just everything?
Yeah, whatever. I mean, how's your pants?
I mean, for
bowel movements at regular intervals, or like, what are we doing?
For the indie books, I think that there's, a couple strong ones this week.
What's the strong ones?
I think that Angelic is definitely. I feel like this is something people will probably glance over solely because
big time, and they did. I don't know anybody who really picked it up today.
No.
So, I glanced over it too, thinking that it might not be something I would like. But I forced myself to read it, and then when I got here, I forced her to read it. Because I was like, you're going to be on the show tonight, man. You better know some stuff.
He basically handed me a stack of books, and we're like, read these by the end of the day. And I was like, Okay.
Yeah, which is a chore on Wednesdays, man, because like we got a lot going on. So, but homework is key. It's kind of important. Mm-hmm. So is that your pick of the week then?
Yeah, I think it would be.
Nightwing your pick of the week?
Nightwing was really good, but I think Angelic, just because of it's different.
Something so different?
It's
cool.
so different, but it's so good.
So obviously, we haven't read everything on the shelf. We probably have other stuff that would be our favorites by Friday, but there's only so much time in the day. So I read as much as I can, especially for some of the newer stuff. So for the newer stuff, my pick of the week would probably be the Batman the Red Death. I thought it really blended seamlessly into this dark multiverse thing that they got going on, which I really appreciate. It's really nice that they have an idea of what they want to do, and it's being pulled off. Metal right now is a little dense. There's a lot to it, and it's tough to get your entire head around. But this side stuff that they've been working in has definitely helped kind of ease the pain if metal is kind of feeling a little too hard for you, or just there's too many inside jokes going on. The side stuff at least makes you feel like you're not being ripped off, especially because we got a lot of people here signed up for the whole thing. So, some people might be feeling a little weird about metal right now. I've been liking all of it so far. I'm just hoping metal itself gets a little more cohesive, and I know what's going on. But I have a feeling that'll happen. Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo are too talented for that not to happen. So yeah, guys, we covered quite a bit tonight. We've got all this stuff still in stock. Open 11 to 7 tomorrow. Big announcement though. Batman Day / Harley Day this year is going to be Saturday. What does that mean for you? Well, every piece of Harley and Batman merchandise in the store will be marked down 15%.
Excluding
that's
hot
everything,
toys.
Excluding hot toys, which is really only one hot toy. And that's because contractually we are not allowed to discount that product. So if we were to discount it, we could lose our little deal with Sideshow. But everything else will be marked down. I'll have a little table set up. Me and Little T will be here holding it down. We've got some free giveaway stuff. We've got Batman pins. We've got masks. We've got all sorts of cool stuff that they sent us. And we're also going to do, if you were here on Free Comic Book Day, we do some rolling sometimes where you roll to win a prize. Well, in this case, you roll, you win a prize. It's going to be a thing if you spend $15 to $20 or more or something like that. We haven't decided totally yet. But then you get to roll to win a prize. You might win either a Blu-rays or potentially a couple other things. We're not going to go too crazy with it. It'll probably only be like a handful of people that'll be able to kind of win some stuff. But we're going to have some fun with it. Typically, we don't throw in on all these events because it's a lot for us to spend money on. We can't do every single event they want us to do to give away stuff. It's just we're a smaller store. It's just how it goes. But this one, Trey's out of town, and you know how it goes, man. Once Trey's out of town, stripper poles come down from the ceiling. We start getting crunk in this bitch. I got Little John coming. Yeah! What? It's going to be awesome. So, yeah, stop by for Batman Day or Harley Day. We're going to have some fun on Saturday. So swing by this weekend. Otherwise, Little T be here tomorrow by herself holding it down for all the young G's. So, any words of wisdom for the people?
Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs. I mean, that's probably pretty good. Pretty good, yeah. Or do drugs if that's your thing. I wouldn't suggest doing drugs, but she huffs a lot of rubber cement. So anyway, it stunts your growth, people. You see it. So anyway, thank you for hanging out. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
You're fired.
Kind of expected that.
Wouldn't be a day without firing you. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm going to go home and sleep the sleep of the just and the dead.
Bye.
Bye. Goodbye. Bye. She's still waving. Oh.